I gave her 5 points, and she said, please come, you're even late.
Yeah.
Come and help. When someone says come and help, it's not like they are doing you a favor. They really need your services, because it's about insights. You are able to. So the supermarket we are talking about is internet, but also the store. I remember I've gone to Kigali and walked through the stores, bought a few things, a few products to rebrand. I don't remember if I was successful in any, but that then built something in me that I'm supposed, or I always have to comb through and see the opportunities.
Wow.
So that created a foundation. And I remember I was leaving a job. I left a job. The first thing I got to was a bus to Kigali many years ago. I didn't know anyone in Kigali. So I sat and I'm like, if I'm not successful at home, I'm going to be successful in my neighbor's country. So I got to Kigali, and I got a room to sleep. The next morning I walked through. I didn't get business, I remember. I designed, sent to the guys, probably I didn't get replies. But it created a foundation of how I do my things.
Wow. Well, it is said that exposure is very key in developing a person and leading the person to the next level in their life. This is the CEO bench, and on the bench is Mr. Bedford Buyungo, who is a Pan-Africanist, an entrepreneur, Saint Africa, African Voyage, and there's a new product that is coming called a certain drink that is coming.
Kampala.
Called Kampala. Kampala is the drink that is coming. And he is touching the lives of so many people because he's been able to move across Africa, move across continents, and be able to open his mind to see. How many countries in Africa have you been?
I've been to almost every country using virtual, but I can't give you offhand physically the ones I've been to. But maybe next time.
Okay.
Let me just go through the 11 points quickly.
And I want to take a break, and when we come back, I want Bedford to pick it up from there. But just like I posed the question to Bedford, I want to ask you who is watching the show, who is a CEO, who is big host, thinking of becoming a CEO, or thinking of building your own brand or your own product. How many countries have you been in Africa so far? It will shape the way you think and the way you do things. Share with us your experience. We'll be right back after break. This is the CEO Bench.
It's a CEO bench, so usually people want to assume that all CEOs are overlearned and stuff like that. So I will change the script this time around. I consider myself a certified hustler.
If I'm looking to know who you are you Ugandan? If yes, what are the values that define you as Ugandan?
That's the easiest question, I think, to answer. I am a typical Lao man from Erute North, in a place called Ogur, and where I will be laid to rest is in a village called Agweng. So if you go there and you just say Otoa Tony, they won't really know me because my father is also Otoa Tony. You have to ask for Junior, and when you're asking, you have to ask with an accent. Junior Tikwene, where is Junior? And they will identify me. But I'm typically Ugandan, only Ugandan, from Lira. I pride myself from being from Lira. Earlier on, I was joking and saying I'm the coolest Lago south of Karuma. When you cross Karuma, there are so many. But when you're down the south after Karuma, I think I'm number one.
Wow. Well, now that you know Tony Otoa is Ugandan, and of course, what are the values that define you as a Ugandan?
I think it's the love for country, love for nation. You know, truth be told, the country is in a lot of, it's a crisis. Leadership crisis, economic crisis, social crisis. There's so many mismatching areas. But at the end of the day, it's home. You know, you cannot run and abandon your home because of the issues in your home. I think that then creates an opportunity for you to do something to change what's happening and what you see as a crisis. So in terms of what I see as a value, or what I take out of that for me, I think is just the love for country, the need to serve country the best way I can. And I mean, I can't say I can change everything, but the little I can do to create a difference, I think is more meaningful.
Wow. Yeah. Mr. Tony Otoa, growing up, what did you want to be in life? And what was the journey like for Mr. Otoa?
Yeah, you know, my father is crazy. My father would call us and he would show me the compass. The idea was supposed to be a pilot. You know, the planes would fly over our house and my father would be like, yeah, you're going to be a pilot. Yeah. But of course, as you grow, you realize that you have so many things that really define you. I was never a sportsman. So I enjoyed a lot of debate and, you know, a lot of indoor activities. And that is, I think, what really drove me into some of the things that I do up to today. Public speaking, the love for debates and really a lot of intellectual discourse and all this stuff. But besides that, I think it's also the fact that I won't lie. I didn't know what I wanted to be.
Welcome back from that break. This is the CEO Bench. My name is Eddie Okila, and in the studio is Mr. Bedford Buyungo, who is a Pan-Africanist, a man who thinks beyond the boundaries of Uganda, as well as an entrepreneur. And he is the founder and CEO of, Saint Africa, as well as the African Voyage, which is his other company making the boat here in Uganda, as well as the man who thinks for other businesses. At the moment, he's a consultant of the government of, Liberia, and of course, as many, he's a man who speaks directly to Professor Lumumba and helping him on many other things that we know. Welcome back to the show, Bedford. I wanted to take from point number 7.
Yeah. So, our point number 7.
Yes.
Allow me to complete that.
Please go from 6, actually. Yes.
Which was, this is very key to my heart. It's very important because I managed to see myself differently.
Yeah.
And then I didn't see myself as a creative director, art director in advertising.
Yeah.
So I would want to really extend help to the people who see, who are graphic designers, and probably see themselves at that point and they don't see anything beyond.
Yeah.
For me, it's simple. Seeing the art talent that you have as a business.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I mean?
Yeah, seeing the art talent you have as a business, not as just a mere design.
As a craft that you're going to meet someone's need. So, in fact, Jay-Z has a very, a line that he put in one of his songs.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not a businessman. I'm a business, man.
Yes.
So he's not a businessman. Get
busy. He'll get busy all the time.
He's a business himself.
So
see yourself as a business.
Yes.
And treat yourself as a business.
Yes. Wow.
You get what I mean? If you treat yourself as a business, that graphic designer, that art director, creative director, you will slightly see things differently.
Wow.
Because you are a business. So that means that if you are a business, then you need someone to take care of that business. So a business is handled in a different way.
Yeah.
So that helped me. Of course, I moved to creative, picked up the skill of research and development, which probably was something that actually has gotten me to meet many people, because that's one of the major needs right now in Africa. People need to create from scratch and then bring these things to life and to the shelf.
Yeah.
So I'll go to the point number 7, which says be careful who you spend your time with.
Wow.
These are very simple things that we wrote, and we think, I would love to use big words, but let me use things that people will understand.
Yeah.
And be careful of who you spend your time with. Yes, I can spend my time with anyone, but there are people who speak to me, and there are also people I speak to. There is a need as a business, this Bedford. I'm a business.
Yeah.
You get?
Not a businessman, but I'm first a business and then a man.
Yeah, so
yes.
a business has needs
Yeah.
of education, a business has human resource needs, it needs many things.
Yeah.
So when I realized that I needed a certain type of inspiration, I needed a certain type of people, I looked for them. And one of them is Professor Lumumba.
Wow.
So Professor Lumumba enhanced my the Pan-Africanism in me.
Yeah.
And he splits it. He treats me like his son. I called him this morning when we were coming here. I told him, Professor, there is A, B, and C, and he was like, okay, maneuver like this.
Yeah.
Oh, how are you, son? How's Uganda? I'm reading news, and so it encourages.
Seeing a situation which doesn't look good, yes.
So Professor Lumumba enhances that bit, and then of course many other things I wouldn't say on the show.
Yeah.
So I looked for guys that can help me get to the next level. So I looked for Michael Jackson's vocal trainer since 1987, 2011.
Wow.
Dorian Holy. So I looked for Dorian Holy, not for anything else, because there's nothing he can give me that probably he didn't need anything from me.
Yeah.
But I looked for him because I had something I'm looking for, and that was the spirit of excellence. For you to have worked and trained Michael Jackson how to sing, and trained his backup singers
to match the kind of singing that he was looking for.
Yeah.
It's a sound and the voice that he was looking for.
And then performed in big arenas. Basically, you're working with the best entertainer ever lived on earth. There was something special that probably people didn't see in Dorian Holy. He's not that famous. He was the lead backup vocalist, and at the same time he was a vocal trainer, and he's done everything in singing. And I was like, I'm not a singer, but I need the spirit of excellence from this man. I looked for him and I got him, and he started mentoring me. Not like we are sitting down, and by talking to him, anytime I get the opportunity, he tells me things. I ask him about, how MJ, all those things. And he breathes in me the spirit of excellence, because you can't work with MJ and you're not excellent.
Yeah.
So the point was, mind who you work with. I'm not saying that we won't work with the people we are better than.
Yeah.
In fact, we should work with them, and they should benefit from us. But can they get anything beneficial from the well that is empty? Means the well needs to be fed with a stream of life, with a stream of water, and then others can draw from it. So it's two-way. There's people you need to learn from, and there's people who need to learn from you. Guess what? The people who want to learn from you, it's like a bee being attracted by a flower. But the people who need to, who you need to learn from, you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone and look for them. Because even them are
fit in their schedule.
And fit in their schedule.
Because one of the things is looking for them, and you don't fit in their schedule, so you will never work together.
I'll give you a trick, is to be relevant. If you're Killer Sports Fitness, offer them probably a free gig. Let them come and exercise. Because they are spending some money, they'll give you much more value than probably
and the little money they will give you at that point.
$100 per month.
Wow.
So to me, when I'm doing business, I split things into two. I have people who give me value, and then I have people who I get money from. So I don't see everything through the eyes of money. There is value that is that's the foundation for all the money you want. You get what I mean? So it means that if I have Dorian Holy, anyone in that world is a phone call away. You get what I mean? If I have Professor Lumumba, everyone in that world is a phone call away. If I'm a friend to the Vice President of Liberia, Her Excellency Joel Taylor, and I speak to her the way I speak to Okila, it means I'm a phone call away. The thing is, I need to have something, I need a meeting.
Yeah.
But you need that connection. And this is the time to make the connections.
Wow.
Because people are less busy,
Yeah.
people are receptive, people are listening, they're looking for answers. It could be you that's providing those answers.
Wow.
So I'll go to the next point.
Yes.
Is to
this is point number 8.
Yes, it's linked to even some points we talked about. Is to learn something new. Someone will ask, you're talking about research and development. Someone will ask, you're talking about human resource. Where did you learn those things? I promise you, I won't lie. I didn't go to school to learn those things. Ask Elon Musk where he went and learned. You can go and ask Zuckerberg where he learned.
Yes, yeah.
And in fact, most of them will tell you that school or dropouts. It doesn't mean that when they dropped out of school, they started eating mangoes.
Yes. I mean, Amos Wekesa said it himself. Amos Wekesa says, I dropped out of school, but how many of us are consulting from Mr. Amos Wekesa as a tourism entrepreneur right now in Uganda and in Africa? And I think that there are probably bigger, tourism companies in Uganda, bigger than Great Lake Safaris. But the first thought when you think about travel is Wekesa, because it's been in everybody's faces and it's been able to, at the forefront of everything. Yes, but over to you.
Yeah, so when people drop out of school, and I'm not saying people should drop out of school, it doesn't mean go and eat mangoes, relax. It means, in fact, dropping out of school puts even a bigger burden for you to learn, because you've comfortably or even negatively put yourself out of the measuring yard. You get what I mean? Because a degree
used to,
a degree measures you. Say you've studied 19 years from kindergarten to university. We award you the degree in such and such. It means you're graded. There's certain expectation of a degree holder, master holder, even a PhD. I'm just appealing to our viewers to humbly, even if you have a degree, learn something new and get out of the grading system. When you get out of the grading system, it means that you're going on a highway that probably you don't even know where it's leading, but it's going to be much faster.
And there are going to be a lot more accidents on the way, because the highway is very attractive to speed. And sometimes some people step on that pedal and say, yo, come on, man, let's kick these things. And they enjoy. And along the way, they forget that the highway always have the sharp corners. And in some areas where they say slow down, their arms ahead, and then they forget and they hit the arms and the car flies off. They lose, part of the car. Or if you're on a border motorcycle, you will fall down, you break a leg, you get up. I mean, those are the things they're talking about.
I'm talking about those. But when you go to the highway and you maneuver sharp corner, you'll be the master of the sharp corners if you survive. So while you're seated at home, Google human resource, strategies, and as an artist, as an accountant, and then when the 42 days is done, put up a presentation to your CEO and tell them, I can be your CEO, your accountant, but I can also be the assistant human resource. And these are the strategies that will take us through. There's human resource, there's many things different companies need. You study because you work there and you learn. No one is going to come and give you that degree. But I promise you that when you present and it works, that degree is going to come in form of cash. You'll never lack that. It might not come soon, but when it comes, it will surely come. This is the time. You can, there's people who want to travel, say they just can't fit in this system here in Uganda. I give them the advice, get some little money and study a course from that very country you want to go to. Probably when you apply for their visas and you've studied there, even virtually, you'll be one of the guys to be considered. It's always that you need to look forward and then start moving,
Yeah.
you know, towards that direction. So my ninth point is invest in your business.
Yeah.
There's many ways you invest in your business. People are going to say we don't have money, we spent all the savings, but I see people online. I've hardly seen anyone say because of the pandemic they are not online.
And they are not eating also.
You get what I mean?
Yes.
So how they're eating, even their businesses need to eat.
Yes.
Investing in business is something, is a homework I give to our viewers. How do I invest in my business? You invest in, of course, the physical, then the virtual things you can't see. Invest in your staff by Googling and sending them things. Get some time and invest. I stress human resource because that's the camel we talked about that will take us through the desert. Invest in those people. Actually, they are the business.
Wow. Bedford, I want to just interject there a little bit. A lot of time, just on the point number 9, a lot of time we looked into more about numbers.
Yes.
And I have been on a journey where people keep saying, numbers, we want to see big numbers, we want to see big numbers. I mean, how are you going to compete with these guys? How are you going to compete with these guys? You're supposed to compete with these guys. And the question of numbers have always been such a big problem. Yet, when I look deep down from my studies, I realize that every single thing that we have talked about on this show today is predicated on the fact that somebody was thinking.
Yeah.
And they thought about the process.
Yes.
And they looked through the corners of their thinking processes and said, I think this is going to work. And they never looked at it from a one-dimensional point of view.
Yes.
But probably looked at it from a three-dimensional point of view.
Yes.
And I draw my wisdom and understanding and thinking from this part when this story is talking about a man who was trying to go to another city, and he said, I must go through Samaria. And the people, we had about 12 men around him, and this guy says, you must be really crazy, man. You can't go through Samaria. We don't even mix with those people. We don't even, we don't touch there. That's not a no-go area. We don't mix with those fellows.
Yeah.
Just the attitude of these people, he kept quiet, he didn't say a word.
Yeah.
But they set course to the journey where they were going.
Yeah.
And he said, must go through Samaria, which means they were going to a different destination altogether. And unfortunately, that destination is given to us.
Yes.
But what I learned from him is that when he said so, it is accounted for that he reached a certain place where he was thirsty.
Yes.
And he stopped and says, I'm hungry, I need some water. And then he sent all the 12 men to go and buy meat. So I kept asking myself, so send all the 12 men to go and buy meat. And then they came back and found a different story altogether. Bedford, I want to just put this to you. He had 12 men, but one man reached the entire city and took control of everything that we're looking for.
Yes.
And the question is, does the numbers really matter at the beginning? Should we look at the numbers at the beginning? Because one of the people who nominated you for the program said when he started the company in 2019, he had a good number of customers.
Yes.
But in 2020, when the pandemic came, by the time he was coming out of the lockdown, out of the 12, clients that had signed in, 6 of them were very good paying customers according to him. 3 of them cut off and he remained with 2, and eventually at some point he remained with 1. And now he has only 1.
Yes.
And he doesn't know how to grow the numbers back, and he's very afraid that the numbers have gone, so the revenue has gone down. And I keep saying, everywhere he goes, they tell him, but your company has only 1 customer. What if this customer terminates you? Is it not the end of you? So they look at his portfolio and say, we need your portfolio. At least we should see like the 10 companies you've worked for, 20 companies you've worked for. So the question of numbers have always remained a very serious thing. I want to go back to you and ask you, how do we navigate the path of numbers? Must everything start with numbers, or it can start with you? I mean, based on the story of the man I told you, the story is different. When the guys came back with food, they found when he said, I have need to eat that you know not of. And I got confused, said, but you were hungry, sent for food. Then now you don't want to eat. What's the problem?
Yes.
But he had such a big number. He said that when he spoke to a certain woman, the entire city came to him.
Yes.
But it started with one woman.
Yes.
And yet he had 12 men who didn't understand.
Yes.
The question of numbers for business people are usually such a big problem. Even on this show, some people will say, but you don't have numbers. The numbers are not showing very big. Yes. But when I go into the background, the numbers are so huge.
Yes.
There's an algorithm somewhere that gives me the numbers of people from all over the world. I know who is watching you now.
Yeah.
I know which country, which geographical location, what they're using. Are they using the mobile phone or they're using the computers?
Yes.
And I noticed that 68% of the people who actually follow the CEO bench is on their mobile phone.
Okay, that's great.
And 80% of them are women.
Wow, amazing.
And they spend 80%, in fact 63% are women, and they spend 80% total time watching the program.
Yes, yes, yes.
But yet, when you look at it from here, the number looks very small. How do you justify that? And how do you tell a person who is being told of the numbers now not making sense?
No, numbers is very important. As a strategist, as a marketer, research and development, everything I do that through numbers. I always have my big calculator on my desk. Yeah. And that is what makes me different from probably other people. Yeah. And I took my learning when I was under, when I decided to learn from Mr. Simpson Birungi, the chairman of Movit. Yeah. That guy is a genius. We should invite him here. He's a guy who knows numbers, not your very hard numbers. How to multiply, how to divide, how to add. Yes. You can't say you're trying to market and you don't know how the turnover is going to be like. Yeah. You don't know how to project. So numbers are very important. It's probably the reason we are in business. Yeah. Because the more numbers I have, the more consumers I have, the more me as a Pan-Africanist, if I have, I can make sure we sell, say, 10 tons per week of Ugandan coffee abroad. It means more jobs. It means everything. Yes, it's numbers.
But can you start when you are starting from scratch, based on the story of my man there? I mean, everybody seems to be saying I need numbers now, but you can't have numbers at the beginning, such huge numbers at the
Definitely.
First go. Yeah.
Numbers, I'm speaking it from a vision point.
Okay.
You need to have a picture of what you want,
yes, and
then you get there.
Yes.
I'll use an analogy. I love using analogies because it helps people understand better.
Yes.
If I want to be a pilot, what business am I doing in Qatar with bike sellers? What business do I have to do with them? It means probably I need to hang around Uganda Airlines, I need to sit with pilots. You meet them, and then they'll enhance your thinking, they'll tell you things you didn't know, and probably you'll gauge and say, I'd be a pilot or I'm not a pilot. This is not a pilot, this is not my thing, according to the explanation. The knowledge is there free, people give it to you free of charge. When I started working as a consultant at the airline, I started seeing pilots the same way I see you, not the same way I used to see them. I used to see, because they fly things in the sky, they must be angels. They're human beings like you and me. And then when you ask them, they'll tell you, it needs 100,000 to fly Boeing to and fro. And then you calculate, okay, if I want to buy a private jet, does it fit in? You get what I mean? Yes. So numbers from a point of vision. And then you start working towards it. Numbers guide me a lot when I'm doing strategies. Because they show you, they measure, they help you measure that you're not doing well. I'll throw some numbers at you, and I know it's going to cause you to think. Monaco has 37,000 people.
This is the city of Monaco. Monaco has the country.
37 people. 37,000 people. These people have a GDP per capita of 186,000 USD. You get that? Per capita of 186,000. Yeah. So when I calculated in Uganda shillings, how much money the average guy gets per month in Monaco, it's 56,000. No, million.
Oh, $56 million.
No,
56,
Uganda
oh,
shillings.
56 million Uganda shillings. Okay.
That's earning for a top CEO in Uganda. The other side, it is what is the basic, what every human being in Monaco earns. They are only 37,000. So it's a game of numbers. Numbers from the point of human resource. If 37 million can have 37,000 people can have an economy that gets the basic guy to get 56 million Uganda shillings, then on the side of people who think that you need a bigger human resource to create that, it has proved you wrong already, because fewer people have a bigger economy. So you come back to Uganda, where you have 45, let's say, million people, whose GDP per capita is 860,000. No, 860 USD. So when you put it in Uganda shillings, the average guy in Uganda gets like 120,000 per month. And you know that's the money you pay your maids. Or people, many people, that's the money they pay. So the guys who calculate GDP are not just talking, you know, GDP per capita are not just talking things from the air. They really sit down and calculate, and it makes sense for me. So I'm like, that's when I started Monaco, it gave me courage that I don't need 100,000 people to make Africa better. You need just a few thousands to look in the right direction, very inspired, very knowledgeable, to get the continent forward. That's numbers.
Wow.
You get what I mean? But also I kind of was like, for example, the other day President Museveni gave an example of Walmart having a bigger economy than that of East Africa. When I know you've been to Nairobi. Nairobi is such a big city, big economy, almost the third on the continent, very thriving. But when you mirror it against the Walmart economy, it's cartoon.
It's not even there. It doesn't suffice. It's not closed.
Because East Africa has about 7 countries, isn't it? 6 to 7 countries.
6 now.
6.
So it's Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, and South Sudan that is coming. 6.
6. 6 economies can't do better than just one store, one supermarket. So that's numbers. It helps you put things in perspective. Makes you know that you're not doing well, because that's the measure. And then you start moving forward. So it's not numbers that I need numbers today, because for you to be relevant to the numbers is to have something to provide to the numbers. And I encourage all businessmen, all artists, all marketers to always think about numbers. So Walmart, for example, their turnover is 559 billion USD. The turnover of East Africa, or GDP, is 193 billion
dollars.
6 countries against
one supermarket.
So against one supermarket in some part of the world. So Walmart employs about 1.5 million people in every store. You can imagine the population of East Africa. So you have 1.5 million people against 80 million people, or plus, against 120 million plus. So 1.5 million people are able to do bigger things than 120 million people. Numbers help you to put things in perspective, and then you start moving forward.
Bedford, thank you so much. I want you to go to point number 10 as we close up. Our time is fast spent, But I want to say thank you very much. Mugamba Robert said, great conversation, and I think he's enjoying the conversation and the numbers. Thank you very much, Mugamba Robert, as well as my friends from Rwanda, Burundi. Thank you very much. They said, when enjoying the interview. I've seen comments coming from guys who follow you in Nairobi saying thank you very much for having the gentleman on the show. How old is he? They are asking how old are you to have these great insights about the stuff that we're talking about here. The CEO Bench is about leadership, change management, and transformation. And all we've been talking about here, from the votes that came in, the 30 votes that came in, we wanted Bedford Buyungo to come back to the program and give some nuggets of truth about how we can help our struggling businesses. This is from the private entrepreneurs corner, and of course I think that he's been able to give that, coming from the background of a brand developer, product developer, marketer, an advertiser, and an entrepreneur, and a Pan-Africanist, thinking at a different level altogether. Bedford, if you will pick it up from point number 10 as we close.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm enjoying the viewers' comments as well.
Yes.
I'm 43 years in August.
Wow.
So I was born in 1978.
Yeah.
And yes, I know I probably look old. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, in a different part of the world, my age, you're very old.
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
In this part of the world,
You're just starting.
We're just starting.
In fact, we make money when we're 40 plus. They said we start to become serious at 45.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't live a very healthy life to see us enjoy that, because at 40 we are dying. I mean, how many of our colleagues have died at 40?
Yeah.
Because they are not living a very healthy life,
yeah,
and a fit life to be able to enjoy the start of this process of the journey.
Yes.
And so one of the things that I'm trying to do in many of my thinking right now is to turn my skills and my training of health and fitness,
yes,
to be able to make other people become successful.
Yes.
And I believe that if I make them become successful,
yes,
in being healthy and fit,
yes,
I will make money off all my life. The
Great.
reason
Great.
being, if they are successful, they will always not forget the water that, the hand that was feeding them.
Definitely.
I mean, if I train 1,000 people, give information to 1,000 people, I'm hoping that maybe about 500 will come back. The other 500 will throw me off
No,
balance.
the 500 will come.
Yeah, but there's a 500 people who are going to come. So yes, you're right when you say the age. And until we need to pick up from the health and fitness point of view as, CEOs and entrepreneurs at your level you've reached, to be able to think serious. Guys, health and fitness is key, and I think that COVID-19 is helping us settle the boat, the balances, checking us there and right and left and center, that you are home. By the time you're coming back from the 42 days, you probably put on so much weight, the anxiety has kicked in. You cannot think very well for your business because you are unfit and unhealthy at the same time. And that means that your productivity, like Bedford said, in the other part of the world, 43, they are retiring. In this part of the world, 43, we are starting, and yet we are dying. So we have not started, we are not even not there.
Yeah.
Unless we're able to work our way stronger and more fitter. But over to you, Bedford. Sorry, I had to interject with that point, because you touched something quite very important in this discussion.
No, that's very important.
Yeah.
There is something I call the fast tracking of the African mind.
Yes.
And that's what we need.
Yeah.
In the area of health, in the area we need to fast track our thinking.
Yes.
And if you were miseducated for 19 years, you need to unload the 19 years fast. And then retape.
Yes.
If it was, like the video recording, and retape new knowledge.
Yes.
And then get on the faster lane we talked about,
and
then run.
Yes.
If it's a race, 100 meters dash, and you're against Usain Bolt and all that, just know that Usain Bolt, Tyson Gay, they are at the 50-meter mark, and you're on the 0 mark. Appreciate it that way. That's how we started. That you need to appreciate that you are locked down for 42 days, but the other world is moving,
Yes.
and they are much more better than you. They have system, they have addresses, which mean everything. They have social security, they have everything,
Yeah.
and you are at the zero mark trying to
catch up with
yeah.
them.
So my 10th point is find someone to mentor you.
Yeah.
My 11th point, I guess.
Yes.
Find someone to mentor you.
Yeah.
I touched about it a little bit,
Yeah.
but let me stress it out that we need to find someone.
That is actually point number 10.
Yeah.
We wrapped up 10 and 11. Yes, you said you put 11 points. Yes.
Yeah. We need, you need to find someone to mentor you in the area of health.
Yeah.
If that's the need you have.
Yeah, yeah.
You in the area of business. Like I have a few mentors and I treat them like fathers. I told you the guy who taught me how to calculate, how to use the calculator was someone who even has no degree. But I appreciated his touch. I mirrored him against people who have degrees and economists, and I'm like, I'm going with this guy who employs 3,000 people, pays them every 2 weeks on time.
Yes. And runs the company that supplies East Africa. And now I think it's Africa.
He's in 9 countries.
Yes.
I'm like, this guy, he has to be my mentor in the area of finance, in the area of numbers.
Yeah.
So occasionally I check on him. Even yesterday I sent him, MZ, I hope you're well. And he said, yes, I'm good. How about you? I said, I'm good. So in the area of spirituality, I have my mentor. In the area of excellence, I have the Michael Jackson guy. You know, he's 64. Dorian Hall is 64. Yes. He's retired. Yes. He's still, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But I'm making use of him.
Yeah.
And guess what? If Michael Jackson paid him, he's giving me free knowledge.
Wow.
I have Professor Lumumba, because that is the direction I'm taking. As a Pan-Africanist, I need a Pan-Africanist who can easily introduce me to people. I need a Pan-Africanist who tells me, I think you're going on a wrong trajectory. I think this is it. We need Pan-Africanists who not just talkers but doers. So that's what Professor Lumumba tells me. So occasionally, I think for you to hire Professor Lumumba to speak, you'd have to pay 6,000 USDs. He gives me that knowledge for free. You get what I mean? Of course, a mentor will have to appreciate your hunger and then start, you know,
feed the hunger.
But these are people who've done things, and I'm saying they are not leaving me behind. I'm going with them. Let me go on the Kameme, but I'll reach. Eventually, I'll be able also to mentor others.
Wow. Let's go to point number 11 as we close the show.
Of course, point number 11 is learning from experience. We had the first pandemic, and if we didn't learn anything, the second pandemic is clearly telling us that the world is on reset. If you think that you're going to open up a shop, a cloth shop, and sell the way you used to sell before COVID, then it's like you're waiting for the ship at the airport.
Wow.
Things have changed.
Wow.
Things are very virtual. If you think that your human resource the staff is going to be able to work the way they used to work, then you're wrong, because these people, while at home, they've been introduced to many other things. Some of them are learning new skills. So if you view them the way you used to view them before, it's like waiting or winking at a woman in the dark.
Wow.
You better stand and appreciate that things have changed. Take stock.
Wow.
Sit down with a paper and pen and say human resource. Plot it and say things have changed. Interview your staff. You know, ask them what they want to be in 5 years. I promise you they'll tell you different things. They've learned things. Some of them know what is working and what is not working. So I want to thank you for the opportunity of hosting me here. For the viewers who who've been watching us, the people who nominated me, and I want to tell them that or give them encouragement. I shouldn't give. They should still have hope that things are going to be better, and they should look north. And of course, if they are spiritual, God will come to arrest you. And but God has to find us doing something. They need to learn. They need to have their visions clearly written, because that will help the posture they're going to take. And also to remind them that we as research and development fellows are constantly coming up with ideas of how to make things better. For example, we are going to have the cheapest mortgage in the world. And you and I are going to work on that. We'll have the cheapest mortgage in the world. Housing is going to be
something that has never been discussed before, something has never been thought about before.
Definitely.
Something that people have never even thought about in their wildest imagination.
Yeah, housing is going to be a human right. We're going to make it here in Uganda. You and I and our team, we're going to make it happen. It's not going to be that for you to own a house, you've succeeded. That will be the foundation and not the limit.
Wow.
To your success.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Well, Bedford, thank you so much for coming to the CEO Bench today. I would like to say we are really extremely humbled to have you back on the show today. And I think that those who have nominated you have not gotten anything short than their expectations were at the beginning, and that informed their decision to nominate you to come back to the show. And to everyone out there, thank you very much for being part of the show. I would like to say thank you, and we're looking forward to having you anytime we have the vote. The CEO Bench is purely about the vote. You see the person, you don't understand them, but you hear about them and you want them to come. We created this platform so that they can come and share their ideas. 1.5 hours of them sharing their ideas, sharing their thoughts, and of course their experiences in the area of leadership, change management, and transformation. Until then, we want to say thank you and keep it the CEO Bench. Like Bedford Buyunga said, we're working on something. Again, don't wink on that woman in the dark. As the pandemic comes, that's a learning for today. As you come out of 42 days, please put the light, put the glasses, and see the beauty of that human being called the business that God had placed before you. And like you said, you have to make sure that you don't wait for God to find you when you are seated. Rather, God should find you when you're walking. Until then, keep it the CEO Bench. Bedford Buyungo, Ed Your Killer, signing out.
Venez, des profs, des Français.
C'est l'Alliance française.
Une fille m'a posé une question, pourquoi apprendre le français alors que je lui parlais de la radio Bonjour Kampala. Oh, venez, 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 venez.
Venez apprendre le français.
Je vous invite à venir.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
Viens mon frère.
Venez
Viens ma sœur. À l'Alliance française.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
Venez, venez,
venez apprendre le français. Venez à l'Alliance française. Venez apprendre le français. Venez à l'Alliance française.
Je vous invite à venir.
Venez apprendre le français. Venez à l'Alliance française.
La plus largement appris après l'anglais. Les Français disent langue étrangère, la plus largement appris
après l'anglais.
La connaissance du français ouvre des portes, des entreprises en France
comme à l'étranger.
La connaissance du français ouvre des portes, des entreprises en France
comme à l'étranger.
Le français, la langue de la culture,
la langue internationale pour la cuisine,
la mode, les théâtres, les habitués, la danse et
l'architecture.
Le français, la langue de la culture, la langue internationale pour la cuisine, la mode, les théâtres, les habitués,
la danse et l'architecture.
Oh,
oh, I love French.
Oh,
oh, I speak French.
Oh,
oh, I love French.
Oh,
I speak French.
I love French.
Oh,
I love
I love French.
I speak French.
Oh,
I speak
I
French.
speak French.
I love French.
Oh,
I love
I
French.
love French.
I speak French.
Oh,
I speak
I
French.
speak French.
Oh,
Oh, I love French.
oh,
Oh, I speak French. Venez apprendre le français. Venez à l'Alliance française.
venez, venez,
Venez apprendre le français.
venez, venez,
Venez à l'Alliance française.
venez à Kamocha.
Venez
Ou
apprendre le
Kotosti.
français.
Blood Sekandé.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
Venez dans la grande famille. Venez,
Apprendre le français.
venez mes amis.
Venez à l'Alliance française. Bien Molière, c'est l'idiot n'a pas pris. En passant par Ayana Kampala. Pourquoi tu penses que les Français tirent la internationale?
Que tu sois fondé autour du four du plaisir. Dis-moi le bonheur en abondant et là,
En pleine évolution.
Venez,
Venez apprendre les Français.
mes amis, venez.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
La langue française. cette fois-ci la langue des pères.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
Venez dans la grande famille. Venez à l'Alliance française. Venez apprendre le français.
À l'Alliance française.
Je vous invite à venir. Venez mes
Apprendre
amis.
le français.
Venez.
À l'Alliance française.
Venez. Parlez français. Parlez français.
Parlez français.
Everybody parlez français.
Parlez français.
Everybody bina moke. Bina moke. Bina moke.
Bina moke.
Everybody bina moke.
Bina moke.
Bina à gauche.
Bina à gauche.
Bina à droite.
Bina à droite.
Bina devant.
Bina devant.
Bina derrière.
Bina derrière.
Bina devant.
Bina devant.
Parlez français.
Parlez français.
Parlez français.
Parlez français.
Parlez français. Venez.
Venez à parler français. Venez à l'Alliance française.
Je vous invite à venir. Venez apprendre le français. À Kamochao.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
À Bukoto Street.
Venez
Claude
apprendre le
Saint-André.
français.
Venez.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
Si tu veux parler français,
Venez
viens à
à
l'Alliance.
parler français.
Si tu veux parler,
Venez à l'Alliance française.
si tu veux entrer dans la famille,
Venez à parler
viens.
français.
Viens.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
Hello, welcome to the Creative Industry Talk. This is House of Talent Television, and my name is